Have you ever wondered what it feels like to wait a lifetime for the one you love, only to be reunited in a single, unforgettable moment? Tonight, witness the emotional reunion of Quang and Linda, a story of longing, pain, and unbreakable love. After years apart, Linda's tears finally meet Quang's warm embrace, revealing the hardships she endured while he was away. But love alone cannot shield them from the storms ahead. Stay tuned as we dive into this heart-wrenching journey of hope, promises, and the fight to protect their happiness. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more stories like this. The night was wrapped in silence, broken only by the distant hum of the city that seemed too far away to touch the small, lonely corner where Linda stood. The dim glow of the street lamp above cast her shadow on the pavement, long and fragile, just like the years she had spent waiting. Her heart pounded in a rhythm that felt both hopeful and afraid, as though every beat was asking the same question. Would he really come back? Or had her waiting been nothing but a dream? Her eyes searched the darkness with an urgency that made her chest ache. Each time a passing stranger appeared from the distance, she held her breath, hoping, praying it would be him. But then the figure would vanish into the night, leaving her with nothing but disappointment and the cruel whisper of loneliness. She tightened her coat around herself, not because the air was cold, but because her body trembled with anticipation she could no longer control. And then, suddenly, as if the night itself had been holding its breath until this very moment, she saw him. A tall silhouette emerged from the end of the street, each step deliberate, steady, and achingly familiar. Linda froze, her knees weak, her eyes wide with disbelief. She blinked rapidly, terrified that her longing had played another cruel trick on her. But when he stepped under the faint light, and she saw the face she had memorized 1,000 times in her heart, there was no mistake. It was Quang. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. The rush of emotion clogged her throat, choking her with joy and pain all at once. And then, without thinking, her body moved before her mind could catch up. She ran. Every step toward him felt like breaking through the chains of years gone by, through every lonely night she had endured, every cruel whisper that told her he would never return. Her heart was pounding so loudly it drowned out everything else, until the moment she collided into him. Linda buried herself in his embrace, her small frame trembling violently against his chest. And then, finally, the tears came. Tears she had been holding back for far too long. They poured down her cheeks in hot streams, soaking into his shirt, as though they had been waiting for this one safe place to fall. She clung to him as if letting go would mean losing him all over again. Her sobs raw and unrestrained, carrying years of pain, fear, and longing. Quang's arms wrapped around her instantly, fiercely, as if his very soul had been starving for this moment. He held her so tightly, it was as though he feared she might disappear if he loosened his grip. His chest rose and fell heavy with emotions he didn't yet know how to speak. All he could do was press his cheek against her hair, feeling the warmth of her tears, the fragile tremors of her body, and silently vowed that he would never again allow her to suffer alone. For Linda, that embrace was more than just a reunion. It was a release. Every night she had spent staring at the stars, asking if he was looking at the same sky. Every silent prayer, every whispered hope, every moment of despair, they all melted in that single desperate embrace. In Quang's arms, she was no longer the lonely girl waiting in the shadows. She was the woman who had finally been found, finally been seen, finally been loved. And as the night wind stirred gently around them, carrying the scent of autumn leaves, Linda knew that no matter what tomorrow would bring, this moment was hers to keep forever. The moment when Quang came back and her world, broken and fragile, was finally made whole again. Still trembling in Quang's embrace, Linda slowly lifted her head, her eyes glistening with tears as she searched his face. The fear, the longing, and the years of solitude were all reflected in her gaze, and for the first time in what felt like an eternity, Quang saw the true weight of her suffering. It wasn't just the loneliness of days without him. It was the silent endurance, the quiet battles she had fought in the shadows, the nights she had cried herself to sleep while pretending to be strong. I waited, she whispered, her voice cracking like fragile glass. I waited for you, Quang, every day, every hour, every minute. I didn't know if you'd ever come back, but I couldn't stop hoping. I thought I might lose my mind, but I couldn't stop hoping. Her words spilled out like a river long dammed, sweeping over the truth of her pain, raw and unfiltered. She buried her face against his chest again, shaking with sobs that refused to be quieted. Quang held her tighter, his own heart clenching painfully as he listened. Each word was like a dagger to the heart, a stark reminder of how cruel fate had been to keep them apart. He had left to pursue dreams and obligations that he had believed would eventually secure a life for them together. But in doing so, he had left the woman he loved to face the storms alone. His eyes burned with regret, and a bitter taste of guilt filled his mouth. How could he have been so blind? How could he have allowed her to endure this pain without him? He lifted her chin gently with his fingertips, forcing her to meet his gaze. Linda, he murmured, his voice thick with emotion. I never wanted you to suffer. I never wanted to leave you in the dark. I thought I was doing what was best, but I see now how wrong I was. I should have been here. I should have been holding you through all of it. His words were unsteady, heavy with remorse, but they carried the truth of his heart, a truth he had long suppressed under duty and fear. Tears streaked down Linda's cheeks, glistening in the dim light, and she whispered back, I knew you had your reasons, but it didn't make it easier. Every night I would imagine you walking through that door. Every morning I woke hoping it wasn't all in my mind. I survived, Quang. I survived, but it was so hard. Her voice wavered, breaking into a sob that shook her entire body, and Quang's arms tightened instinctively, as though he could shield her from every sorrow she had endured. For a long moment, they simply held each other, two souls bruised by time and separation, bound together by a love that had survived against all odds. Quang felt her heartbeat, rapid and fragile, and he silently vowed that never again would he let her stand alone against the world. Every tear she had shed, every moment of despair she had endured, had etched itself into the very core of his being. He would carry that pain with her, sharing it, shouldering it, and turning it into a strength that would protect them both. I swear, he whispered, his lips brushing the top of her head. From this moment on, I will never leave you. I will never let you face this world alone again. No matter what comes, no matter how hard the storm, I am yours, Linda, always. His voice was firm now, trembling only with the depth of his love and the gravity of his promise. Linda pressed herself closer, feeling the warmth and safety of his arms as though it could erase the years of loneliness. In that embrace, in the quiet hum of the night, the past shadows began to lift, replaced by the fragile but undeniable light of reunion. She believed him, fully and without doubt. And though the path ahead would surely be fraught with challenges, she knew that as long as Quang was by her side, no darkness could ever touch her again. For a few precious moments, the world seemed to stand still around Quang and Linda. The night air, crisp and tinged with the scent of autumn leaves, carried only the sound of their steadying breaths, the faint rustle of distant traffic, and the quiet hum of emotions too powerful to articulate. In Quang's arms, Linda felt a fragile sense of safety, a fleeting reprieve from the storms that had battered her heart for so long. But deep within both of them, an unspoken awareness lingered. The night's reunion, no matter how perfect, could not erase the challenges that awaited. As they reluctantly pulled apart, their foreheads still touching, Quang's gaze hardened with determination. The world beyond this quiet street was far from benign. He had returned not only to reclaim his life with Linda, but to confront forces that had been quietly scheming during his absence. The shadows that lingered in the corners of their lives, the envy, the deceit, the unspoken threats, were growing bolder. And though the warmth of reunion had brought solace, he knew the comfort of the moment was temporary. A storm was gathering, and they would soon have to face it together. Linda, sensing the shift in Quang's demeanor, clutched his hand, as if holding on could anchor them both against the coming tide. "Quang, whatever comes, we face it together," she whispered, her voice trembling but firm. There was a fire in her eyes that mirrored the love and resilience that had carried her through years of despair. She was no longer the fragile girl waiting in shadows. She was a woman forged by hardship, ready to stand beside the man she loved. Quang nodded, squeezing her hand in silent agreement, each beat of his heart echoing the promise he had made moments before. The night seemed suddenly sharper, as though even the darkness around them sensed the tension brewing ahead. Quang's mind raced with possibilities, every scenario more dangerous than the last, yet his resolve never wavered. He would protect Linda with every ounce of strength, every calculated decision, every careful step. Her tears, once a symbol of suffering, now fueled a relentless determination within him. He refused to let her endure any more pain, refused to let external threats erode the fragile happiness they had reclaimed. They walked slowly toward the small cafe down the street, a place that had always been a silent witness to their fleeting moments of peace. Each step was deliberate, a rhythm of unity, a declaration that they would face whatever was coming side by side. As they moved, Quang gently brushed a strand of hair from Linda's face, his fingers lingering on her cheek with tenderness. "No matter what the world throws at us, we will survive, we will fight, and we will remain us, always." Linda's grip tightened, her head resting against his shoulder. The storm outside, the schemes, the betrayals, the uncertainty was looming. Yet in this moment, it seemed a distant threat, powerless against the strength of their bond. She drew courage from his certainty, from the depth of his love that had carried them through years of separation. They were no longer two lonely souls drifting in isolation. They were a single force, bound by pain, hope, and an unbreakable devotion. As the night deepened, a soft rain began to fall, drumming lightly on the rooftops and pavements around them. It was a gentle, cleansing rain, washing over the city and, symbolically, over the scars of their past. Quang and Linda paused beneath the awning of the cafe, watching the drops glitter like tiny diamonds in the streetlight. And in that moment, despite the looming dangers, they felt an unspoken certainty. Love had reunited them, had fortified them, and whatever challenges awaited, they would face them together, hearts intertwined, stronger than any storm. And as they stepped into the warm glow of the cafe, hand in hand, the night's trial seemed a little less daunting, the shadows a little less threatening. Their journey was far from over, but for the first time in years, Quang and Linda felt the true power of hope, reunion, and love, an unbreakable bond that no darkness could ever sever.